Good evening and welcome to the Star Chamber Show live podcast, episode number 506 tonight, which is actually a really good one here in central Kentucky, Lexington, where I, Stephen Zimmer, am broadcasting from. And joining me in the co hosting chair tonight is the loquacious, the vivacious, and the audacious Holly Phillippe. And I think she is with us
I
right
am.
from the get go.
I am.
This is awesome.
I am
What a
here.
surprise. You are on it tonight, Ollie.
Hey, I brushed my hair real quick. I took a real quick shower, buddy. I was on it.
Usually I'm having to say, hey, she'll be joining us in a few minutes. Don't worry. But you are here. So
I'm here.
this is great. This is awesome. And
Me
we got a
me
great
and Prince Leopold. Leopold is in here with me. So you
yeah,
may
we
hear a
have
meow.
it's like I was gonna say, yeah, we got Carol Pre-Flattish says, wait, am I in the Matrix? Holly is in
Yes,
here already.
she is. Christine's in here too.
Christine is in here. That's
And we
awesome.
got a Wicket
Fantastic.
1331.
Wicked 1331. All right, the chat room's already starting to get some life in it already, and of course we take a lot of comments and questions from there. And yes, Carol Pre-Flattish, you were the first in tonight into the chat room. You're right there with Holly, right from the get go. So well done, well done. When we do get around to doing prizes for that, you'll be set, but not yet, not yet. But we do have a little podcast news to pass along. Don't worry, everything's fine as far as shows are going to, of course, continue weekly and be live. But to maintain our current live format, we actually are going to have to do a move in May. So we're going to give you a little more information on that just shortly to the platform that we are going to be going to and all that kind of good stuff. But we want to maintain the chat room and the live format and
It was
live
not our
calls.
choice, but
Yeah,
I want to say that
Podbean.
it's
Yeah,
not our choice. It was
yeah,
Podbean. They're going to quit their live shows, which is
yeah,
insane to us
yeah.
because,
Not a
oh my
great
gosh,
move.
they have so many great live shows, and
Yeah,
it
numerous.
sucks, that they're going to
Yeah,
quit live shows.
yeah. It's unfortunate, and there's a ton of live shows on this platform.
Oh,
So
there is.
including Vamp Chat with Dan and Eva and so many
Yeah,
others. And so
yeah,
it's
we all
really
got to
a
move.
bummer. But hey, we've moved before, so as far as platforms, but the show
Yeah,
always
we'll be
goes
all right.
on. So we'll be okay. It's just the medium that we broadcast through. So we'll keep you posted on that
And
as far as the
and
specifics.
it will still post on Spotify,
Yeah,
iTunes, Amazon,
all the
YouTube, all
larger
that stuff too.
platforms.
So we'll
Yeah, it
still be
will.
on all the other platforms too. It's just the live broadcast we have to move.
Yep, and we'll maintain an archive. Don't worry, we're gonna
Yeah.
actually import all of the previous shows to the new platform as well. So yeah, the back shows will still be available. All that good stuff. But
Yep,
yeah, it's
yep.
just just the fun we get to go through on our end. It's always an adventure. But yes, as far as I wanted to do a quick shout out, congratulations to From the Ground Up Books, their new Shepherdsville location. I had the honor of being one of the two guest authors there this past weekend with S. Lee Davis, who was a great guest on this show not too long ago. But we had a great time. New location is in a much better spot for traffic. It's right on a main thoroughfare there in Shepherdsville, and it's a great great store and great layout. So yeah, keep a okay, Holly. Sorry, you're breaking up just a little bit there,
Can you hear
Holly.
me?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Oh, I thought you were trying to say something. Sorry.
I was talking to Leon. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I was
oh
getting
no.
him a television show on. He likes to watch the birds.
Oh yes. Leon's in there with
Our
you.
kitty, one of our
Kitty, yeah,
tuxedos.
the kitty.
Yeah, he likes to watch cat TV, and if you all have cat friends, there are
Yes,
channels devoted on YouTube to
there
cats.
are.
There are
Yeah.
live feeds of bird feeders and squirrels and all kinds of wildlife
Yes.
stuff, and he loves it. He'll lay
Yeah.
here and watch it.
Yep, it definitely occupies cat TV as we call it. And yes, I also want to, yeah, as Jason, the Wicked 1331, by the way, Holly, is Jason William Allen, the man himself. He was there. He came to
Dang!
see me. He came to see me
I
out this
know I
past
missed
weekend with
it.
Stephanie.
But I was
Yeah.
embroiled with things here. I didn't feel good anyway, but then I got embroiled with we had
Oh, you woke
another,
up sick. Yeah, you
household
woke up.
thing, and I had to deal with all kinds of stuff. So it was a good
Well,
thing I
that
was here
was
anyway.
that ended up being later that day. Yeah, because you
Yeah,
woke up after having the fibro flares and all that, and said
yeah.
you couldn't
I
make
did
the
not
trip,
feel good. I did not
and
sleep all
then
night,
yes.
and yeah,
We
yeah.
had plum
It wasn't good.
we had another lovely roots in the pipe issue crop up, so yeah, that was a
Yeah.
lot of
So sewer
joy,
problem
joy.
again. That's always fun.
But we don't wanna dwell on that. We wanna get on to the good stuff because we
It's
are
fixed.
the
It's fixed.
yes, let's get on to the Imaginarium convention updates because, of course, Star Chamber Show is the official podcast of the Imaginarium convention, so we keep you up to date on all the news it's goings on. So yes, the be just want to remind everybody that the Arlen Andrews Science Fiction and Short Story Challenge contest, the entry window is open from now until June 1st for Imaginarium attendees to submit a short story for that. The full info is on the site, but that's open and that does have some nice cash rewards in addition
Yep.
to awards that will be announced at the awards ceremony. So if you have a science fiction short story in your writing trunk and would like to dust that off
Or
and get
like
it
to
in,
try it, or
yes,
just
or
like
like to
to take
try
a
it,
whirl.
or can get one together. Yeah, they're only up to 2,000 words on these, so yeah, not a you don't have to turn in a big one. But yeah, check out the site and that'll give you instructions, the form, and email address for sending that in. And then also on the Marathonarium 4 short story workshop, the one I volunteer as editor for, we have 7 spots remaining on that one. Just 7 of the 18 spots remain open. Of course, that leads to our print and ebook anthology, the Marathonarium anthology each year. And let me tell you, the third one is dynamite, and it's coming down the tracks, and it's looking. Oh, I tell you, these stories are really really good. So that's gonna be. I'm confident people are gonna love it, and hopefully the new one is gonna have a very high bar to exceed that. So that's the challenge, folks. But yeah, 7 spots remain for that. And then we, as far as new programming, we added one new workshop and 5 new panels this past week to the programming. As far as the workshops go, it is, yes, Stephanie Lanham, who I just mentioned, yeah, came out to see me this past weekend, but she is doing a workshop on special effects horror makeup, mastering the art and adapting on the fly. And this is for real world settings like film production, haunted attractions, and live events. And it's how to adapt quickly, problem solve, and things like that for working on the fly. If you're missing supplies or last minute script changes, time constraints, and still delivering really, really top notch special effects makeup. So yeah, so even if you're not, strictly doing horror films, I mean, if you just wanting to learn about makeup effects, if you're doing fantasy, other things like that, this is going to be a great workshop to attend among our programming. And then here are
Yes, so it would be good for authors, filmmakers, game designers, all.
Mhm.
This would be good for all to check out.
Yes. And then we also have, of course, as I mentioned, we have 5 new panels. One is an interactive world building jam.
Yeah.
It's a live construction project, a high energy session where the audience and panelists work together to build a brand new setting from scratch in 60 minutes. It's going to be a lot of fun. That one's going to be a lot of fun. Then also building and sustaining a successful writing group, and that's exactly what the title says it is. Getting a great writing group together. We've talked about many here on the show, like the blah 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 writers group of our town here in Lexington, Kentucky, with Liz Carey, of course. And then we have building irresistible chemistry and romance. So there's a panel on building chemistry and romance, exactly as it says. And then also researching clothing and setting for historical realism. So this will be good for a lot of different genres and getting period correct attire. Of course, set the settings correct, things like that, and researching on that. So that'll be a really, really valuable panel for you to check out. And then we also have one on self publishing versus traditional publishing and all the pros, cons, and strengths and weaknesses of each of those and everything in between. Because, of course, you got indie press, you got major press, and self publishing, and all that kind of good stuff. And this is going to be the panel that covers the ins and outs of all of that. So, yes, folks, that's the 5 new panel editions and 1 new workshop. And then last but not least, we have 2 new panelists, and they're both fantastic, and they're both returning panelists. We have author, editor, publisher, and podcaster R.C. Reed, who's also a vendor. And then we also have author, editor, publisher, and podcaster Tim Bischoff as a panelist. And yes, and they are with some publishers that because I know R.C. writes for Jumpmaster Press. And then Tim Bischoff has several short stories with, I think, at least a few with Three Ravens Publishing. So yes, there were some publishers that are very well loved at Imaginarium as far as them as authors. But check it out. Check out our guest list because it is really, really fantastic.
Oh my God. And the
It is,
programming. I am
yeah,
just
in the programming.
I am in the biggest mess I've ever been in because we literally have so much great programming this year, and there was a lot of people's workshops I could not fit in, but oh my God, what we have got is they are banger. And it's hard to schedule because you don't want something a ton of people's going to want to go to and bump heads with something else that a ton of people are going to go to, and then they're going to be split, and it's a mess. I'm going to tell you guys, my job is
In a
hard
good
this
way.
year.
In a good way.
And yeah, I mean, it's a
Messy in
great
a good way.
problem to have.
Yeah.
It's fabulous problem to have that. Yeah, it's that good. So yeah,
Yeah.
and I've got a lot more. I've got a few more things coming down the pipeline that I'm working on. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yes, yeah, most definitely. And then last but not least, there are only 2 awards banquet dinner tickets available. Claim them, so we can say everything's sold out. Because that would be cool. Yeah, it'd be the earliest ever that those have sold out. But we have only 2 left for the awards ceremony. So if you'd like to claim those, you can tonight, right during the show. And now we are going to give you the folks that brought you tonight's show, and that's Sandy Linder, the Genre Blender, and Per Bostet Publications. So here's a little bit from Sandy Linder.
Did you know that fantasy author Sandy Linder offers more than epic fantasy novels for your escapist tendencies? Oh, my friends, Sandy's imagination can take you to all kinds of crazy or satirically vampiric or horrifying places. She even has soothing poetry to ease you through periods of grief. Visit authorsandylinder.com to choose the exact adventure you need today.
Great writer and also a great booktuber. Check out her Sandy Says Read. Sandy Says Read channel on YouTube. And yes, and also, yeah, by the way, check out Sako and the Moon podcast from last Friday, folks, because Holly and I were on that. I just want to do a quick shout out on that.
Oh, it was
We
so fun.
we did that, and it was just a blast. So check out Sako and the Moon podcast as well while we're on the topic of YouTube channels. And now a little bit from our friends at Per Bostet. Per Bostet Publications is a small press based in the Louisville metro area, specializing in speculative fiction and other outside the box books. 40 titles in print and ebook formats and a handful of audiobooks, Per Bostet offers a little bit of everything. Check out Frenemies in Space, Marian Allen's new science fiction short story collection featuring return character Smart Mouth Connie Phelan. Or try Michael Dabney's latest David Blaze mystery, A Deadly Game, prequel set in 1984 Philly. You can find these titles and more at perbostetpublications.com at Amazon, or you can find the press in person at Kentucky and Indiana book fairs and conventions. Per Bostet Publications, where timeless tales unfold. And thank you to T. Lee Harris, Sarah Marion, and Marian Allen. Literary triumvirate. Yes. Literary trifecta, too. Yes. Can't go wrong with
They
those
are.
3. They are awesome.
That is
So
for sure.
now, Yes, we are just waiting for our guest to log in for the evening and ready to go. We're ready to go. So I'm just watching for our guest to log in. I just heard from him just a little bit ago, so I know he's out there, and I know he's
Well, I have to say, um, speaking of programming, me and Carol Preflattish, we got in this big discussion about you know the size of car trunks. She was asking about size of car trunks, whole bodies and all this good stuff. And so we are thinking about we're trying to talk moon into being our body um, at Imaginarium and demonstrating the proper technique to put a body in the trunk. And yes, it's free search for Carol's book. And I'm also working on a thriller. So yeah, me and Carol, we love these, true crime podcast and shows and on books and all this stuff. And you just if you go to Google some of this stuff, I know the FBI is watching us all, but you go to Google some of this, you can't find a lot of things, right? Well, I did come across some videos of a Toyota dealership that was doing advertisements about the size of the trunk, and they were throwing the dealers into the trunks, and it was hysterical. And I cracked Carol up one afternoon. So yeah, we are trying to talk Moon into it. So if y'all talk to Moon or see Moon, try to talk him into this. We would love to stuff him in a trunk lovingly, and we promise to let him out.
well, you better. He's one of my favorite people in the world. So yeah, you better. Yeah, and also, yeah, he's a favorite at Imaginarium too. So yeah, you both would get in a lot of trouble if you did not free him. Yeah, it's such an endeavor. So
It's very loving stuffing in the
yes.
trunk. A loving stuffing in the trunk.
Oh, you guys know way too much about true crime, you and Carol and all. I tell you, dangerous bunch, dangerous bunch, folks.
It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, I see our guest is in the chat room. I do see him marked down there. I can't see. I haven't seen him log in just yet, as far as from
Um,
login. So yes, he's got the instructions. But if you're having any trouble on that, just go ahead and hit the little
hit
button. Yeah,
yes.
go ahead. How you can explain it.
Oh, hit the little phone icon, the little telephone icon down by where you're inputting your message per chat. There'll be a
Yeah,
little phone icon, and you hit that, and it'll throw you
yeah.
right up there.
That's
And
another
then
way.
Stephen,
Hmm.
yeah, can add you in. Otherwise, you can go to pot. Well, you can actually use the link that was set to you, and that should
Yes.
bring you right in.
Okay, I just got a message from him on Facebook, so I think he's going to use that method. Okay, here we go. Here we go, folks.
All right. He's going to give it a try. Yeah, there you go, Carol. We'll give him a key. Well, if we use,
Okay, here we go.
there he is.
Here we
There
go.
he is. Okay,
All right. I got to give him the big introduction.
here
So
we go.
tonight on the Star Chamber Show, for the very first time, he is a multi-genre author with titles such as Aces of Hearts and Ace Johnson, Ace of Hearts and Ace Johnson. And he is also a publisher and based out of London, Kentucky. And he is also, that's not enough, he is the founder of a brand new book fair called the Ink in the Hills Book Festival that is going to be held this fall in London, Kentucky. So, welcoming onto the Star Chamber Show for the first time, hopefully first of many to come, the one, the only, Gary Bryant. And Gary, you should be live.
I am live. Wow, that's quite the introduction.
Hey, we spare no expense on the Star Chamber Show.
I hope I don't have to live up to that.
Well, welcome. It's really good to have you. I was very excited when I was seeing your post going up, and then after that, I found out you were an author and a publisher and all kinds of good stuff, and that you're also from our home state here in Kentucky. So it's like, yeah, so we got to get you on the show kind of early. Of course, we definitely want to have you back as things go. But you're a busy guy, so give us a little introduction to yourself in your own words.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, I always like to bite off more than I can chew. That's just kind of what I do in life, and then sweat it out and stress over it later is kind of my approach. And so I have, like you said, I have written two novels. I have, it's Ace of Hearts and Ace Johnson, and I'm finishing up the third in that trilogy. And that book right now is with the editor, and that should be out here in the next couple of months. And that's the title of that book is Missing, and it kind of ties the other three books together, or the other two books rather, together with this third book. And I'm also I also have a podcast. I don't know if I'd mentioned that. And what I actually did is I adapted the first book into a serial podcast, theatrical podcast, similar to like the old radio classics. It
Oh, that's
has the
cool.
yeah sound effects and actors and everything, and I kind of backed into that. It was I met a producer, a film producer from Cleveland, and I used the word producer extremely loosely. And in fact, as I began to get into that project a little bit, he wanted to make a movie out of my first book, and he seemed a little bit on the shady side, and I pulled out of that. But along the way, I've met an actress that I thought would be perfect for the teen girl in my first book, and I thought, I really would hate for her not to do anything before she ages out of that part. And so
Right.
I came up with the idea of doing the theatrical podcast, and it's been a lot of fun. We have 10 episodes out now, and I have to rewrite each chapter as an episode, and I rewrite that into a new episode. Just put the script together and work out the schedules for all the actors, and then we go to a really nice studio here in London to record it, and we release one new episode every month, and until we have all 24 chapters covered in 24 episodes.
That's
Now, what platforms can people listen to this on, and what's the name?
The name of it is Ace Johnson Mysteries with Heart, and
Okay.
it's on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and iHeartRadio and YouTube and a whole bunch of other platforms. You can hear it if you want to find it. You can find it. But it's basically, I say mysteries with heart because my stories are a little bit different than some mystery detective genre type books. You know it's as much about the people as it is the mystery and the story. And now it does have a mystery in the first book. It's kind of heavy theme in the fact that it deals with sex trafficking. Um,
Okay.
but outside of that, you would probably term it as a cozy mystery, I would think.
Oh wow, yeah, because that's
Ah,
definitely a heavy topic, and yeah, that actually intrigues me to read it, just because you are dealing with a heavy topic like that, and then you say it plays a little more like a cozy mystery, so yeah, that
Well,
actually intrigues me to read it.
yeah, I'd say cozy in the relationship part of the book. It starts off, the very first book starts off with a retired detective that he really doesn't have a lot going on. He's widowed as of 2 years, and he's been retired for about five from the police force. And he goes to the park and he feeds ducks. And then one day he meets this teenage girl, and he senses that she has something that she's afraid of. And he starts trying to poke around and find out, what it is that she's afraid of. And that kind of reactivates his detective skills. And now he has a new purpose. And I really think it's important that everyone has a purpose. And so trying to find out what she's afraid of leads him into this much broader mystery. And that's when he finds out that girls are missing all in the area. And he and this girl and this lady he meets, the three of them start to look for these missing girls.
And so this is designed to be a trilogy. So are you planning to do more with this character beyond these three books, or is this is it for this particular character?
Well, I think it's kind of it. I'm not going to say I'm not going to say it could never happen, but the next book I'm working on is, and I'm 35 hours into interviews on that. But we had a tornado that hit here May 16th last year, and it killed 18 people in our town. And one day I saw a poem that a lady had written that had been in the tornado, and I thought that would make a great first page of a book. So I've been interviewing victims and first responders and volunteers, and like I said, I've interviewed. I have about 35 hours of interviews, and I've interviewed weather people, and so I plan on making that my next book project.
Wow. That sounds really really
Oh,
exciting, and I love the fact that you did do the theatrical drama. We just had a guest on about a week ago. It was I think it was it last week, Holly Michael Lyons,
yeah,
because
I think so. Yeah.
so much happens in a week on our end. Sometimes I have to
Yeah.
pause and
Two
think,
weeks. We
but
skipped last
2
week's
weeks.
show,
That's
so
right.
it's been 2
We
weeks.
skipped those 2 weeks. But
Hmm.
Michael Lyons, yeah, he's an audiobook narrator and voice actor, and he was talking about how he would love to be doing his stuff on a kind of like one of the radio show style
Hmm. Yeah.
podcasts.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so who knows? We'll have to send him your way, yeah, for your
Sure.
project.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I
but
mean,
yeah, that those are I love those. I mean, and I'd love to see the fact that more people are doing them in that style as far as their audio books or
we
presentation. Yeah.
we love doing it. We have such a ball, and all the actors say they would do it for a living. I mean, and they all, almost all of them. There are a couple people that aren't really experienced actors, but the rest of the people are actors, and they just absolutely love it. It's they don't necessarily have to memorize their lines, and I give them instructions that, hey, if the line doesn't seem right for you, make it yours. I don't tie them, with an anchor to the script. I let them have a little bit of freedom to make the character them.
But you're still there as the author to make sure, things
Absolutely. Yeah,
stay to the core.
absolutely.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
that
because
definitely helps.
yeah, I do the main character and I'm also the narrator. So I'm literally in every single scene. So yeah, so I'm there with them, and if we have a very good guy that works that produces and directs, and I think I'm listed as the director, but he does a lot of the directing, and if it doesn't sound right on his end, we'd redo it until we get it the way it sounds right.
Nice, nice. Yeah, because those are, yeah. I mean, yeah. Holly loves them too. Yeah, we've had a few people on the show that have done it that style. With the full
Yeah,
cast and
they're fun.
yeah, the performances and things like that. And then we, of course, the one we talk about a lot with Devin Hilton and Tim Miller with the Rapture at Silver Creek, and that's where they put in they have a whole a whole like feature film level soundscape underneath it.
Yeah, it's
that's
Yeah.
wild. I mean, it really
that's
you're
that's
immersed.
well
You're
done.
really in the
Yeah,
Wild
yeah,
West, and you can hear
Yeah.
the bar in the back, and
Hmm.
the
Yeah.
saloon and
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's
a
pretty
west.
wild.
It's a western. Yeah, it's a western genre
And
one.
it's fun because you're mixing it's like an audio book, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But you got all the background and everything, which makes it more
Hmm.
immersive. So
Yeah.
you bring film into it. It's only audible. It's not, it's not something you could see. It's just something you
Hmm.
can hear. So it's
Yeah.
cool because then your brain
Well,
fills in the holes.
yeah, and we have this one scene from a few episodes back. It was kind of funny. They have this guy. It's supposed to be a small town. It's set in a small town, and this guy always wanted to go to Paris. This guy owns a restaurant. And he always wanted to go to Paris. Never made it, but he created this faux French restaurant in this tiny little town, and so the background, you hear this like French music as they're having their conversations during that scene. It's kind of it's a lot of fun. It's kind of a hoot, and I actually did the really bad French accent for the maitre d' myself, because I wanted to not to sound like anyone who really could speak French, and it really doesn't.
Nice. That's nice. And but it's still, I mean, it still must be fun though. I mean, being an author, hearing, the different actors take, interpret your characters and bring them to life. And it sounds
Yeah.
like you gave them a little leeway to bring, elements that they saw into it without, as they say, micromanaging them too tightly. So, but did you like what the actors brought into it? Each of your characters.
Oh, absolutely. And I was very careful about choosing the people to do which characters as well. And it's I think casting was important. And The lady who plays the romantic lead opposite of my main character, she's just the absolute perfect Kathy. I mean, she does it so very well. It was exactly. I see her as exactly, or I hear her exactly as I imagine Kathy to be.
Nice. Yeah, everybody's gonna need to check that out. Holly and I both have to give that a listen because, yeah, we work a lot of hours here, and podcasts are definitely help us greatly
Yeah,
get through the workdays. So yeah, we'll have to do that. Yeah, because and audiobooks, regular audiobooks, of course, too. But yeah, this sounds really good. And yeah, I'll tell Michael, our guest from the last show, about this because we were just talking about this
Yeah.
style of presentation. So that, yeah, timing is just crazy there. But now I am going to get into something that I think is, you're wanting to talk about quite a lot, and we sympathize with everything you're going through right now because we we've been through it. But yeah, the first time I met you, in at least virtually, was seeing a post of yours on Threads, and you were
hmm
talking about starting a new book festival, and
yes.
since then
Bless your heart.
it has been born. And it's coming in November, Ink in the Hills Book Festival, and
Oh,
it's in London, Kentucky, which is great because I love London Corbin area. Holly and I both do. It's one of the fastest growing areas of Kentucky.
Yes.
It has grown a lot in the last
hmm
couple of decades. I mean, the London Corbin area. If folks haven't been to that area of Kentucky, I mean, it is popping, and to see a book festival come there is just great news to our ears. And you're right in that nice, sweet fall spot on the threshold of the holidays. It's a perfect time to hold a book fair, and down there in November, and I believe the 14th. Correct? Is that
Correct.
the
Correct. November
and
14th. Yes.
yeah, but I want to hear about the road to this because let me tell you, yeah, like I said, Holly and I, yeah, we can sympathize with anything you've gone through with. But yeah,
Well,
tell us the
oh
story.
man.
well, it's like I said, I have a lot of big ideas, and some of them are some of them I regret later, to be honest with you. But this kind of was born because I started doing a few little in person events here in the area, and at these events that I would be the only one selling books, or there might be two or three of us selling books, or just a handful or something. And the first question to anyone that passed my table was, "Are you a reader?" And too often the answer was no. Um, so that made me start thinking. I felt like there had to be an event. I wanted an event where, first of all, my first question would be, what genre do you read? And not, are you a reader? That was the first impetus behind this. And the second thing was, I was really disappointed at the small number of people who were readers. And so I started this for two reasons. One is to create an event for local authors, and that grew into authors of from any place. And then the second thing was I wanted to bring more people in and get more people excited in this area about reading. That was the second thing.
Yeah, and yes, and Holly and I have been through many a day that is very similar to what you described before,
Yep.
but yeah, I think that where you're having it, this is great. I think it fills a spot that's needed as far as something down in the London Corbin area because it's like I said, there are several events in Louisville. It's where we are with ours, and then several events are in Lexington that are well established. But yeah, there's not a lot down that way, and that's a very, like I said, a very
Yeah.
growing area of Kentucky, and needs this. It needs this, and it's in. But I'd like to talk to you about the road to establishing it because one of the primary things of any event is where are you having it and how you chose where to have it. So I'd love you to give us a picture of the venue and how you'd selected it.
Well, I wanted it to be, of course, in southeastern Kentucky because I wanted to tie all the authors in this area together. And as I started to look at different places, you know, there were places that were kind of on the edge. I mean, you could go as far as way as Middlesboro, and you had Barberville, and you had Williamsburg, and really it got down to the two main most populous towns in the southeastern Kentucky, what would be considered southeastern Kentucky. They are Corbin and London, and I ended up deciding to go to London for a couple of reasons. One, I live in London; that made that pretty easy. But the second part is, Laurel County has a population alone of over 60,000 people,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact there was a venue here that I could get that's right on Main Street, which is the London Community Center, and we had room for about the right number of authors that I felt like we needed to have for this first event, which is about 40. Maybe a couple more we can squeeze in there, but I'm going to start off with 40 to kind of keep it a manageable number. And then in Corbin, there was no venue that really fit that number of authors. You had larger venues or smaller venues, and I wanted to keep the fee for authors at a reasonable rate, so that the way I always look at it, I don't know how you guys do it, but if I'm thinking about entering a venue, or I mean entering an event as a vendor, I always think of it in terms of how many books do I have to sell to pay that fee back. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that's the way I typically
Yeah.
look at it.
Yeah.
So that's what I wanted to look at. I wanted it to be an author could sell 5 books and make their money back and have a good day. That's the way I wanted to look at it. So that's how I wanted to keep the fee at no more than $50. So
Yep.
that figured into picking a venue as well.
Yeah, that's a really nice venue. Years and years ago, I actually did an event when I was doing music stuff. I had a concert down there with a national rock band, and so yes, I'd have some experience with the venue, and it's a really nice one. And the
Mm-hmm.
London Corbin area is almost they go together, and so yeah, you're
Yes.
drawing off of Corbin as well, and it's a great, like I said, it's a great place to do it. And I think that, yes, it's a challenge of, yeah, costs and then what type of event and what type of, thing it is. Cause like the Imaginarium, we have to charge more. Cause I mean, we get charged a hefty fee by our venues. Cause we're, a national event with,
Mm-hmm.
we have a larger event. And so
Sure.
like the hotel venue charges us, every physical table, we get charged $55 by the hotel. Just
Yeah.
us,
Sure.
as the promoters, and we get charged
Sure.
for everything under the sun, and so, yeah, a lot of people come, like, to us, they are factoring those things in, but also because they're getting to promote themselves to guests
Mm-hmm.
that are coming from all over the country, as far as their what they're doing as a publisher or author, or some of them are arts and crafts type folks and things like that. So yeah, there's a few variables there, but this one, I see, yeah, you are focusing on a kind of a regional type of setting, and
Mm-hmm.
so you're able to keep the cost. And I'm glad that
It's
you are
great.
working with a venue that you can keep the costs low, because that's
Yes.
hard.
Because
It,
That's hard.
and
it,
it's
Like we,
great for
yeah,
new authors, authors that maybe
yeah,
only got 1 or 2 books. They're just starting
mm-hmm.
out, and
Yeah.
and with the gas prices like they are now, yeah, that's really going to come in handy.
Sure. Well, and the other part of that is, you mentioned new authors. That's one of the things I want to do with this, and the goal for this is to make this show an annual show, but it would be one that would be part of something much larger. And my idea is to eventually have a writers group in this area for southeastern Kentucky that would be a 501c3 type organization, where we created writing workshops, in different areas in different towns. We would do literature, literary events with the schools, and to try to grow more authors and more readers in this area in general.
that's wonderful. That's wonderful, and I recommend that you talk to the folks at the Bluegrass Writers Coalition, Virginia's
Hmm.
Smith's group. They're up in based out of Frankfurt, but yeah, they're pursuing some similar things out there, and they host the Conference of Writers, which is actually taking place this Saturday up in Frankfurt. But yeah, they might be able to give you some good insights on growing that, because they are a 501c3, and they, they are developing some similar things up in this area. But yeah, I mean, I think that's needed, and I'm glad to see you're looking at like expanding in that direction, because yeah, there's a lot. I we could do a whole episode on it, but yeah, there's so many young authors that have to deal with a lot of scammers out there.
Hmm.
Whether they're
Yes.
scammers, whether they're coming at them from the publishing angle, from artist angles, and all that. And I've had to protect or intervene to protect so many young authors that are about to get into some financial nightmares dealing with some of
Hmm.
those predatory groups. And the more that you can bring in writers, I think, together, for the camaraderie, and also for the, kind of encouragement, and then also the craft. But you also help protect them, especially the
Hmm.
newer writers, yeah,
Yes.
from some of the predators out there. And so yeah, I definitely am glad that you're going to be going to that educational side too, with the workshops and developing it in that direction. That'll be great. And then you can start the fun part and start adding programming to the book festival, and
Yes.
and Holly will be
Yes.
able to talk to you about that, because yeah,
Yeah.
she's that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
a program whiz, so
that's her forte. But
Yeah.
but yeah, that's something that I think is also needed. Uh, but Ink in the Hills, where did the name come from?
Well, actually, one of the things, really, Steve, one of the things I always try to do is recognize where my shortcomings are. And my strong points are typically in organization and finding the right people. That's usually my two strong points. And so I try to find people that will help me, that are good in all the things I'm weak at, which is a lot of things. And so one of the ladies that I'm working with locally, I kind of put together a local committee to help me plan this, and she came up with that idea. And I thought it was a really good one. I kind of think it kind of speaks to who we are. I was playing with an idea that I had at 2 o'clock in the morning, which probably wasn't a very good one because I wasn't sleeping. But I wanted to tie something to the Wilderness Road because, of course, the London Community Center is actually on the Wilderness Road. The old Wilderness Road, how the pathway into Kentucky when it was formed, and Daniel Boone actually blazed that trail, and a lot of people don't know this, but he was an avid reader, and
Mhm.
so I thought about putting together a theme that had something to do with him, even.
That's awesome.
huh.
That is awesome. And you brought up a neat aspect about this, because of, if you have not been to Laurel County, folks, in the Daniel Boone National Forest area, it is amazing as far as the scenery and all. I mean, your location also is going to be a draw, for this, because people that attend and travel to come to it, have the opportunity to explore all the stuff down in that area, and all the nature. And I love that. What is it, the beach down there? It's yeah,
Yeah,
it's a white sand beach, and
yeah.
Holly and I just love that spot down there, right on the lake. And
Yeah,
On
it's at
Laurel,
the National Boone Forest. It's
at the
oh,
spill
by
at it's at
Holly
the
Lake.
Holly
spillway.
Bay, yeah, old Holly,
It's what we call the spillway.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
yeah,
so nice down there.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And there's so much, to
The
do and
Caribbean
see.
of Kentucky.
Yeah, the Caribbean of Kentucky. Yeah, no, that's what a lot of people call that. And it's true, you can actually see, yeah, the water is clear in that area, and it's wild. Yeah, I'd love to come down there and visit, but there's a lot to, yeah, if you're into, hiking and
Hmm.
scenery and beautiful places, it's a gold mine of that, down there. So it's in addition to coming to the book festival, there is a lot to do, folks, down there, and a lot to
There really
see.
is. Yeah,
And,
it's kind of interesting. You mentioned, Laurel Lake being clear.
yeah.
My roommate in college was actually he was certified to scuba dive, and they did the dives, a lot of them in Laurel Lake, just because of the fact that it was so clear.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I
it's
I was I was
gorgeous.
waiting for you to give a story about one of those giant catfish stories.
Well,
That's
that's Cumberland Falls. They have the giant catfish stories that are supposedly below the falls at Cumberland Falls.
Yeah.
just laying there, just feeding everything that comes over the falls.
Nice. Yeah, I always look for those when somebody starts off with, "Well, they were, scuba diving in the lake," and they turned around and saw
Yeah.
the car-sized catfish behind them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, those are
Yeah.
good
They
stories.
are. They are. Yeah.
Those are good stories. But back to the festival. How go ahead and give us the details on how it's going to run. And I want to tell you, I am looking at my calendar and I'm going to try to make it work for that weekend. So yeah, I'm,
That
I'm
would be
hoping to
great.
be
I,
hoping to be one of your
Yes,
debut authors that's going to be down there and come
be
I
a
would
lot of
love to
fun.
get
love to
Holly
meet you
down
in
there.
person. Yeah, love to
Yes.
meet you in person. Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah, get Holly down there and turn her loose. She's a
Yeah.
lot of you'll
Yeah.
you'll 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 have a lot of fun with Holly there too. But yeah, tell us the details on the day because you have a full day of activity.
Yes, yes. The book fair will run actually from 10 o'clock until 6 o'clock, and you can set up between 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock, and then tear down from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. And we're going to have some author panels set up, divided by genre, and we're going to play a neat game. I think will be kind of fun. Each author there will give a clue about one of their books, and as an attendee you will be looking for those clues, and you'll complete a sheet, and when you complete all the clues, then you turn in your sheet and you're entered for a drawing for prizes, different prizes, books and things like that, whatever prizes we can come up with. So but it should be fun to learn more. So everyone there will have an opportunity to learn something about one of the authors, all the authors that are there.
We do have a question. Vamp chat with Dan and Eva. Eva's asking, how would one sign up?
Well, if you can actually join my page, we have a form online, or uh, possibly they could email me and I could send them a link to the form. And my email address is just Bryant Publishing 2 at gmail.com.
Number 2,
Number 2, correct.
Bryant 2.
Bryant
Yeah,
Publishing 2
Bryant Publishing 2.
at gmail.com, correct.
Okay.
I had seen your form on the Ink in the Hills Festival group page on Facebook. That's where
Correct.
I initially saw your
Yes.
form and got the
Yes.
hours for that. But that's a nice, long, healthy day for vending from 10 to 6. It's a good solid day. And location is great. So yeah, people won't have trouble to finding it or anything like that. And
No, it's right on
not
Main
at all.
Street. So,
Mhm.
yep.
Yeah, it's real easy. And so yeah, I wanted to definitely say that to folks that are looking at coming. It's an easy to find venue. It's a nice one.
And
And yeah,
and
it's going to
what
be
are the hours? And I'm going to tell you, people will always ask this, Gary, and you will
Mm.
find this, and it will drive you insane if you do not have an answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the fact, will there be snacks, water,
There will.
food
There will be.
available, or
Yes.
food trucks?
Yes, there will be a food vendor there, and I've already secured that food vendor, and
nice.
they'll have about anything that they'll have a lot of different things, and they're a vendor that's been at Kroger Field, and they've been they used to serve for the Cincinnati Reds when they came to this area, so yeah, they'll be
Oh,
good.
cool.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, they know what they're doing.
yeah,
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 because I tell you,
Yeah.
that's the first thing you people ask. They always want to know about food, and say, because when you're sitting there for a while, you need something to drink, and when you're doing an event like that, you tend to forget to drink. You got to remember, hydrate, hydrate, hydrate,
and
and keep some food so your blood sugar don't dip, and
absolutely,
yep,
yep.
yep.
And they do a really great lemonade. It's they were actually at the Sweet or at the 13th Region basketball tournament, and I got some lemonade there. They have really great lemonade.
Nice.
Well, I love lemonade, so that definitely appeals to
Yeah,
me for sure
yeah,
because that's one of my favorite
So
beverages as
especially if
well.
it's done right. Yeah, the
Yeah,
powder
it's
just doesn't hit the
no, no,
same
no,
as
no. It doesn't. It doesn't.
made
There's
from scratch.
no. Yeah, there's a squeeze, and it's really, really good. And
Nice.
they do the roasted, nuts, the roasted pecans, and the roasted
Ooh.
cashews, and all that. Yeah, yeah. They have some good stuff.
Yeah, in a few years, yeah, he'll be grown to the point where he'll have be serving like elk burgers,
Yeah,
things like
Yes.
yeah, yeah. Elk is
that's
really good.
yeah, because elk, yeah, elk is that they're definitely have good numbers down where you are as
Yeah.
far as roaming the territory down there. So yeah, that's awesome. That's
But
awesome.
I do love that you are filling a need down there
Mhm,
for this, and yeah, by meeting a lot of the local authors too, um, whether they'll just attend or whether they'll want to set up a table. A lot of them may just want to attend and see, how it is, and talk to everybody that's set up there and see how things go. But yeah, getting them to sign up for like a local writers group and stuff would be phenomenal.
mhm. Yeah, we love
And
that.
it was kind of interesting. I spoke to a school, back, I think it was back during the fall. It was during the fall, and I went to that classroom, and I thought, my first question was going to be, how many of you are readers? And I expected a few to hold up their hands, because unfortunately there aren't as many people reading as there used to be. And the next question was going to be, after I had those, how many of you are writers? And I expected maybe one, I hoped. Instead, I asked them the question, and almost the entire class held up their hand and said they were readers. And
Wow.
several of the kids were also writers, and one kid said that she had written 60 pages of a book. And those are the kinds of things I want to foster. Now, this wasn't a regular, it wasn't part of the regular school. It was kind of like a technology class. So
Uh-huh.
it wasn't your average students, but still, I thought that was really, really good.
I
And
think the younger generations are coming back around. I really
I hope
do. I
so.
think, we lost it for a little bit, but I
Hmm.
think they are truly coming back around. I've got a young granddaughter that's 11, and well, Stephen knows. I mean, since she could read, we can't keep her in books.
That's great.
Between the
That's
Right.
library
great.
at school and read, she just reads. So yeah, I think it is coming back around. I really do,
Mhm.
and that's wonderful.
Well, I want to do everything I can to foster that,
Yes,
and the writing. I want kids to learn to write too. I would like
yes.
to see, there are a lot of imaginations out there, and you can do so much with books. You can inspire so much with books, and I think that's something that I want to see more kids get into.
And writing without the use of AI, writing
Absolutely,
from their
absolutely.
Mhm.
brain, their creativity, because, I mean, they've got, Chromebooks in their hand in kindergarten. They've got electronics shoved in their face. They've got,
Hmm.
and so being able to actually you put pen to paper or, bringing from their own mind without any AI influence is very important for them to learn, and for, those of us that can to foster that, and there is a big need for that.
Absolutely. And then there's the other end of the spectrum. There are the older people who always wanted to write, just never could quite get started. Maybe it seemed a little
Yeah.
Right.
bit daunting to them. And because I'll tell you, I didn't publish my first book until I was 57.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
I still don't have a published book, so I'm I'm with you, honey. I've got some. I've
Hmm.
wrote most of my life, and
Yep.
from poetry to short stories to on and on and on. Now I'm working on a full length, but yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. I just never got published. I never seen it through, and I'm a freelance editor and a publisher now, and in this world, but we stay so daggone busy, and it's hard to focus, and that's why
Hmm.
a writers group is important, to
Mhm.
help each other stay on track and do writing times where y'all meet and do write-ups, and some people like that, some people don't. Steven has to write solo,
Yeah.
locked away with these heavy metal music. But
Yeah.
yeah, some people can write. I can, it doesn't bother me. And
Yeah,
I, with being ADD, my brain has got 10,000 tabs open at all times. So
absolutely. Yep,
yeah,
I hear you.
you
I'm right
know.
there with you. Yeah,
Well, you
I
see,
yeah.
and making us sit down, and whether we're in a group of people or not, we don't care, because well, we can do 10 things at once. So, but making us actually sit down somewhere outside the house, so we ain't thinking, well, I need to do this.
Hmm.
It's very helpful for us.
I need noise when I write because
Yep.
if not, my mind wanders, and
Yep.
it's kind of funny. I wrote the entire first book watching TV and different things because by having the noise off in my peripheral vision, it forced me to focus on what I was actually doing. And
Exactly.
if I'm in the quiet, I have a
Uh-uh.
tendency to let my mind wander.
Well, yeah. Then you're thinking about 16 other things. I even
Hmm.
listen to music, themed music, when I
Hmm.
edit. So if
That's
I'm editing a thriller mystery, I'm listening to thriller mystery ambiance, or
hmm.
something on that order. If I'm doing horror, I'm listening to a horror ambiance, and yeah, just so I got that noise in the background. And like you, I am laser focused then on my reading.
Yep, yep, absolutely. And it's like I said, there are a lot of people that fall into that group. They're older people, or mature people that just never did take that step. And
Yeah.
even my first book, I kind of wrote it accidentally, to be honest with you. What happened was, I'm like you. I've written most of my life,
Yeah.
but and when I graduated, I had. Do you know? Are you familiar with Gurney Norman?
Mhm.
Mm, I'm
Well,
not, but
Mhm.
I'm
well,
sure I know some of the books.
Yes.
Gurney was one of my professors at UK, one of
Mhm.
my writing professors at UK, and
Oh, okay. Right.
when I graduated, he said, "Well, you're ready to write a novel." Well, it only took me 35 years, and but the thing of it was, like I said, I always wrote. I wrote for after college. I wrote for newspapers and magazines,
Uh-huh.
and I was the communications director for a lobbyist group in Frankfurt, and then one day I decided I was going to create a fake. Well, Gurney, let me go back a little bit. Go back to Gurney. Gurney wrote his first novel in a column of a catalog. It appeared in a little column at the edge of a page on each page of that catalog. It was called the Whole Earth Catalog. And it was a catalog for hippies that was in the 60s and 70s, and it was a very large circulation. It had like camping supplies and things like that. And I started thinking about Gurney, and I thought, you know what? If he wrote a novel like that, I could probably share my short stories on Facebook. And so I created a Facebook group, and I started sharing short stories, and they would give me a prompt, and I'd write a short story. And then one day they said, "Well, we want you to write a novel now." I said, "Okay, I've never written a novel, but I'll try." And I said, "What do you want me to write about?" And some of them said mystery, and some of them said romance. And my daughter had been in band, so I knew I wanted a band kid in there. So that's how Ace of Hearts came to be. And I would write a chapter, and I'd share that chapter, and they would say, "Okay, we're ready for the next one." And they held me accountable to continue writing that until I finished. And then
Nice.
yeah, and then once I finished, they said, "Okay, now we want it in our hands." So then I had to publish it. And so that's how the first book came to be. And I always tell people now, if they're struggling a little bit, trying to get something finished in their writing, find someone to hold you accountable, and that'll
Mhm.
get it
Yes.
done.
Yes. That's
Mhm.
what's great about these groups and stuff. And
Hmm.
that does help, because yeah, especially especially when you are, ADD, and your brain
Hmm.
is
Yeah.
pulled in six different directions. We have to be we have to be encouraged, and you know, yeah, encouraged greatly, saying, "Hey, you need to do this," or "Hey, let's do this together," or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
that helps.
Absolutely. Hmm.
It does. It does help.
It
So
really
yeah,
does. I don't think I would have ever finished it without them. I mean, like I said,
yeah,
they just kept pushing me and pushing me and pushing me,
right.
and until I finished.
That is amazing.
Yep.
And like I said, you're never too old, right? You're never
No,
too old
no,
to start a new
absolutely not.
chapter, to start a new, something new, and you're never too old to be creative.
No, and you
No.
have so much. I mean, there's so much of my past life that eked into the book in one way or another too. That
Right.
life experiences, and you don't necessarily have that when you were younger. I mean, I had a lady that came to me when I was fresh out of college and wanted me to write a novel, and it would have been a great book. It would have been fantastic. She was an investigator for Lloyd's of London, and she had investigated a case where a horse, a thoroughbred, had died, and that horse, they determined that that horse had been given too many supplements of vitamin D, and that's what killed the horse. They thought it had been killed
Oh.
on purpose for the insurance money. Well,
Oh.
you don't have to, you can insure a horse for $1 million or whatever, but you have
Uh-huh.
to prove the horse is worth $1 million in order to collect the $1 million. Well, so they put together a syndicate that said that they'd offered so much per share in that horse. And one of the things that she had to prove is that the syndicate was formed after the horse had died. So in other words, they were just trying to create value in the horse to pay off. But anyway, it was an absolutely great, would have been a fantastic book. And she wanted
Right.
me to go visit the attorney in New York that worked on the case. And
Oh, neat.
but I just was not ready for it at that time. I just was not. And if I had that book in my hands right now, oh my goodness,
Yeah.
I'd write the Dickens out of it now.
Yeah, that helps when, different perspectives, right? Things we wrote in our 20s hit a little different than things we wrote, 24 hours ago. So, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, life experience tends to, put a new spin on things. And it's great to get all perspectives, but yeah, it does help. Um, as far as when you're doing research and we can add our little tidbits because hey, we've been there and done it.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Bought the
Yep.
farm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way that you take all the lumps you suffer in life and
Yes.
get something worthwhile out
and
of it.
and the
Yeah.
people that you don't like, you can put them in your book.
Oh
Absolutely.
well,
You're
there's
right. You're
a
right.
little bit of
You're
that too.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple of characters, and that's another thing about my books is there's at least one character in every book that's based on someone who's real, and which kind of because so I spent a lot of time developing the character and trying to get it to match the person that they were based on, which was kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's
It's fun.
and it's so true too. I mean, you write what you know, and so yes,
Yeah.
all the personalities that you meet, you draw from that for inspiration for characters and of their quirks and their personalities and everything that goes on. And yeah, it's that's what gives it, I think, the living and breathing aspect. Yeah, when you draw off all those things for
Absolutely.
your storytelling for sure.
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
let's okay, as far as let's see, I'm just checking here. I don't think we've covered yet how to find you though, as far as your as an author. We've talked about the contacts for Ink in the Hills Festival, but I don't think we have covered you. So as far as where folks can follow you and also get your books.
Well, my books are on Amazon. Ace of Hearts and Ace Johnson, Things Aren't What They Seem. And that's the sequel to the first one. And I also have a website. It's GaryWBryantBooks.com.
All right. Yes. Yeah, I've been there. Yeah, I did check out your site. Yeah, and got some nice review quotes on there, by the way, right
Thank you.
there on the main page. Yeah, definitely good response. Yeah, to your books from some folks, and definitely encourage folks to check that out. Now, is there anything tonight? Because yeah, we've talked about your writing and your books and the new festival. Which yeah, I did have one more question on the festival
Sure. Yes.
for the general public. Is there an admission? And if so, then what is that admission price?
Yeah. The admission is $5,000.
Boy, wouldn't that be fun? I'd be going to Jamaica, baby.
No, it's actually free, and I just didn't want, of course you have to pay for it somehow, because you do have to pay for the venue, you have to pay
Yep.
for promotional costs and everything like that. But uh, I'm not apparently not a very good business person, because I really interested in making a lot of money from this. I just wanted to do the event, but there is no admission for attendees.
Nice. So it's free to the public. Free to the public,
Great,
folks.
Exactly.
Yeah, that'll be
great.
great. Yeah, hopefully, like I said, that'll be a good appeal for getting all the local businesses to rally around it and help you promote it, I think, too.
Um, Eva with Vamp chatting with Dan and Eva in the chat room is saying if you partner with a local business, it'll cut your cost. Plus, they invite their patrons.
Oh,
Hmm.
that's a great idea. I think I'll definitely check into that.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
very
Then
much.
Yeah, and then we'll definitely help you as you begin to grow, because boy, I tell you, when you start getting having to grow into bigger venues and working with like hotel sites and things like that, they nickel and
Absolutely.
dime you to death.
Yep.
And
Yes, they
they're
do.
sneaky, and they're sneaky with their contracts. You have to,
They really
oh man,
are.
we have quite a few stories for you on that.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the
Yeah,
things I used to do. That's, like I said, one of my strengths is organizing, and the fact that I used to, I was a association executive director for a number of years in Frankfurt,
yeah.
and I was also on a planning committee that planned a 6-state convention and trade show in Indianapolis, and I did a convention every year in Kentucky, and so I've been there and done that with that.
Ah, you've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's oh god, yeah, we got stories upon stories in that front. We've gotten good at it though. They don't slip much by us anymore, but yeah, in the early days, yeah, I took a few hits because I didn't read something correctly in the venue contract. So
Absolutely,
Oh,
I
yeah.
I've
learned it.
learned to have an eagle eye. You got to look at
Hmm.
all the little print. Don't
Yeah,
Hmm.
don't not you've got
yeah,
don't just pass by the last few
uh-huh,
pages. You got to look very
No,
carefully.
yes,
absolutely not. And
and
you have
look
to
for
you have to negotiate. Absolutely,
yes, and
negotiate,
look
Yes.
for that
negotiate,
look for that
negotiate.
word attrition because boy,
Hmm.
you can get stuck with a lot.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
You don't read
yep.
that one right. But, yeah, but is there anything else that, you were wanting to, spotlight tonight that we may not have covered? Or have we done our job yet?
I think I can't think of anything. Of course, I'll think of something as soon as we go, but right now I can't really think of anything. And I appreciate so much you having me on to talk about my books and the podcast, and of course the book fair. And I really, really am very thankful that you had me on.
Oh, that's great, and this is not the only time. I mean,
No.
we definitely wanna
We'll
have you
have to
on,
have you back and hear how it
closer.
how it went and
Well, no,
plans
Great.
for
before
next year.
before, like, in the earlier part of the fall, I definitely
Yeah.
wanna have
Oh, yeah.
Gary back
Oh,
Before
on
definitely.
because he can talk
uh,
about the lineup then and talk about some of the
Yep.
authors
yes,
that are
Yep.
coming,
yes,
and we
yep.
can also get an updates on his book, and, that's forthcoming. So, with his trilogy. So there'll be a lot to cover. So yeah, we'll definitely get you on before the Ink in the Hills Book Festival.
Well, I
We'll
appreciate it. Yeah,
definitely
I'll,
get
I'll
you on.
always have
Mhm.
something going on, because I just cannot. My wife has looked at me many times and said, "Can't you just sit down?"
That's
No,
Holly. You
no.
and Holly sound like you're both in the same kind of cut off the same cloth because
But
she's,
but
got
Steve did something. He bought me a puzzle table. So now I do it couple. Well, that was about what 3 weeks ago. So now I
yeah,
will
roughly.
sit because I
Hey,
listen to my audio books and do puzzles.
yes, puzzles. Puzzles are really good for ADHD, because
Yes,
they force you to focus on that one piece. That one piece.
yes.
They make you focus on that, so it causes you. I do puzzles all the time. In fact,
See,
we were in New York City last May, and so I brought back a puzzle of New York City skyline from The Rock,
ooh,
and I'm looking forward to finishing that one. And but it does, and I may not put in a piece for a few days, but then I
right.
go back, and it's when your mind gets so noisy that you
That's
you
it.
go back and you just you just find that piece that you couldn't find, and it just goes right into place, and then you just focus for a little while
Yeah,
until
it quiets our brain. That's what I said. People
absolutely.
don't understand, but it does. We get laser focused on it, and we don't have to think about anything. And like I'll have an audiobook going, so I'm listening to that, but I'm laser
Hmm.
focused on that puzzle. And it's so nice to have quiet. You know,
Yes.
that
Yeah.
inner voice is quiet. Finally, yeah,
Yeah, and it's especially good when you're stressed. Um,
yes,
when you get stressed, and like I said, it just it takes your mind off of whatever thing is stressing you, and you just
it's
focus
true.
on that next piece. Yeah.
That is
Mhm.
so true. I am right
Yeah.
with you. I'm doing a Lord of the Rings one right now, and it's a
Oh,
beast.
that would be yeah, yeah, that
Oh,
would be hard.
it
Yeah.
it is
Yeah,
because it's all about the
similar
same color. It's got like, their
colors and
faces are
tones. Yeah.
round. Yeah, and then it's got like the one ring in the middle, and then it's got, at the bottom you've got, the army coming through,
Hmm.
and the ring race, and it's dark, and it's mainly like darks, oranges and black, and skin pigment, but it's all about the same colors. Yeah, it's a tough one, but it
Yeah, well,
really makes me focus.
this New York City one's very hard too. I mean,
I bet. I
the
bet.
buildings, yeah, from the top of it, I guess it's from the point of view from the top of the rock. And so all those little buildings kind of look the same from a
Yep.
distance. So it's not
Ooh.
it's kind of tough.
But it makes you focus.
It absolutely does. Yep.
It looks like
I love it.
Eva Vertrice has in the chat room, "Bourbon does that too." Yes.
That's funny.
Well, apparently Dan, she had a cough, and Dan earlier when they did their podcast, told her the cure, I guess, how to do a hot toddy, and I guess she drank
Well,
some hot toddy, and now
they
she's
work.
doing pretty good.
They work. They
My grandfather had a hot toddy, and it's kind of interesting because he was a very near Pentecostal preacher, so he didn't believe in drinking
Right?
alcohol, but
Right?
he had plenty of alcohol in his hot toddy, and which he's going to be the next book after the tornado book. He's the next book. I'm writing it'll be a fictional account because I know just enough details to get to write the story, but not enough to where I could say it was a nonfiction. He was a very interesting man. He his dad was a moonshiner in Harlan County, and this would have been around just after the turn of the 19th century. I mean, I'm sorry, the 20th century. And he was caught as a boy. He and his brother would deliver the moonshine over Pine Mountain in the dark when they were like 8 and 10 years old, and they were caught
Oh,
and they were sent to a boarding school. Um, and there they stayed and they went to school until they were caught again as teenagers. And they were given the choice of going to the army or going to jail. And they chose the army. And they were stationed in Hawaii, he and his brother. And they were there when the first planes flew over from the mainland to Hawaii. Um, this would have been
oh,
in the 1920s. And then he comes back home. While he's there, he becomes a boxer. While he's in the army, and he becomes the base heavyweight champion. And then he comes home, and this was when the Carnegies and the Fords, people like that owned the coal
Mhm.
mines in eastern
right.
Kentucky. And it was during Bloody Harlan, and he became a coal miner and he became a union organizer, which that's when they had the militia, the coal
Oh,
mine
yeah.
bosses. They had the militia and then the miners, so they were skirmishes and they were fighting, and but he was a union organizer, and they didn't mess with him too much, and he did that, and then he was a preacher for 60 years, and so I'm going to write a nonfiction, or I mean, I'm sorry, a fictional account of his life, and a bit all based on his life, but
That's
um,
gonna be a great story.
should
Yeah.
be
Yeah,
very
it is. I,
interesting.
I want to read that. Yeah,
Yeah. I wanna
definitely.
read that. Yeah, that sounds
Oh,
great.
yeah. Eva's like, you could call it the Mafia Moonshiner.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I like that.
yeah. That's good. That is good.
Yeah,
That's
that'd be
awesome.
fun because I tell you, there was a lot that went on. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that was pretty wild back then, and it was, Yeah. Not that long ago, really, when you look
No,
at the
not
scheme of
not
things.
not in
Yeah.
the big picture of
A
history. It's not
generation,
that far
couple
back.
generations back, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
it was something. A lot of
No
Yeah.
kid.
history in those hills.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Plenty of history of feuds, and I did a paper when I was at UK on feuds in Eastern Kentucky, and that was pretty interesting too.
Oh yeah, the blue people.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yes.
too. That
My
too.
my my son is actually married to she pronounces it fugate, but fugate. Um
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, she's related to them. She's like a cousin through there, and I was always like, they've been able to conceive. But I told her, I said, I swear, if you give me a blue grandbaby, I am not going to be happy.
Yeah, yeah. But it's funny. But the Hatfields and McCoys that wasn't even the worst feud. That was just the most nationally recognized one. There were worse feuds than that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, most
That's true.
definitely. Yeah. Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, it's yeah, yeah, you had some definite, clashes.
Absolutely.
That's
Oh, no
yeah, that's
doubt about it. Yeah, that'd make a good book too, talking about all the different
Hmm.
family feuds. Because yeah, the Hatfield McCoy was just one of the
Hmm.
many.
Yes. Yeah, there were a lot of
You
them.
know, a girl, one of the girls would get pregnant by one across, the way that and the families didn't like each other, and then it started a big war. And yeah, I mean, there was all kinds of little things that went on. Yeah, it was something.
well, there you go, Gary. You didn't get out of this podcast before you got yet another book project.
Hey, yeah, I need another one.
Yeah, no kidding. You can do it. You're ADD. You can do it.
Yeah, you can
Absolutely.
do
Just
it.
burn through it.
Well, it's been great getting to learn more about you and explore your writing and get to meet you here tonight on the show. And definitely going to have you back before the festival in the fall. And
Yeah,
again, November 14th, folks, mark it on your calendar. Ink in the Hills Book Festival in London, Kentucky, and of course Gary Bryant. And check out his books on Amazon and everywhere else for sure. But yeah, we'll let you go for the night, but thank
I,
you
I
very much
just
for coming. Yeah,
I
tonight.
just want
For
to say
spending some
one
time
thing.
with us.
If you're
eh,
looking for my books, look for Gary W. Bryant. Apparently, there's a lot of Gary Bryants out there, and some of them thought they could write too. So,
Well, I I get it because there's a Steven Zimmer,
yep.
but he writes
He watched.
westerns,
Yep.
oh
and he
yeah,
It's
writes
westerns.
westerns,
Hmm.
mhm, and it's funny sometimes. Yeah, as far as that little
Yeah,
bit of a
because it'll get
crossover.
listed in
Mhm,
Steven's books, like on
yeah.
Goodreads or whatever. And it's like, no, that's the wrong one.
oh, I've got
Or
yes.
Google, yeah, or they'll look up like my bio and it'll say like I have this big, huge, I think it's in Texas, a big, huge ranch in Texas, and I was like, I do? Fantastic.
I have some Goodreads books that are mixed in there by other author named Gary Bryant as well. They
Yeah,
have 3 or 4 books in there that I get credit for.
yeah.
Long as they're
So I know.
decent books, it's all right.
Yeah,
Hey, I just look at it as, hey, I'm getting promoted somewhere else, so that's
yeah,
okay.
exactly.
It'll get real confusing if I ever do write a Western, though. That's when it'll get really confusing because
Hmm.
because I've had an itch to do one in at points in my life, and so when I do, that's when the book marketing will get very confusing. But
Yeah, it
Yeah,
will.
so far, so good. But yeah, but thank you so much for spending some time with us tonight, Gary. I'll let Holly take over for closing out with you, but you take care.
you too. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for being a great guest, and we will chat soon.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
All right, good night. All right, to everybody out there in listener land, join us next week, same place, same time. Another great guest, another great chat for the rest of the week. Be creative, all. Good night.